Steve Levy of ESPN. Steve, we were just chatting about this.
Yeah.
I've always considered you a Bostonian.
Yeah. I like that.
Because I don't know if people know this, but all those years when you were a main ESPN anchor, you lived in Boston, right?
I did, right in the heart of the city, right in the financial district. And
you would commute to Bristol to do your shows and come back to Boston.
And ESPN really didn't know about it. Like, I sort of,
Is that right?
Yeah.
Good move.
They didn't have to know where I was living as long as I was there for the show. It was one of my best negotiations at that time. So there was no SportsCenter Los Angeles. So when you saw us at 2 in the morning, that was live Bristol 2 in the morning. And God forbid the Mariners played an extra inning game, we're there forever, And so it was John Anderson and myself, and then Scott Van Pelt and Neil Everett were the other pair. And we would each do a month of the 11, and the other show would go on at 2 a.m. And I finally walked into Norby Williamson's office one day. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll take the 2 a.m., but only 4 nights a week. And that made everybody else happy because Anderson and Van Pelt and Everett, they didn't want to do the 2 a.m. Who would want to do that local time? And so I would stay 3 nights on my own dime at a hotel in Bristol and commute and get back to Boston. So I would be in Boston Friday, 5 in the morning, go to bed and you wake up, and then you're in the greatest city in America, right? And then I got Friday night, I got Saturday night, I got Sunday night, and didn't have to be back in Bristol at 6 p.m. on Monday. And I thought I was living large, greatest thing ever.
And that's what you used to do, but that's no mas.
Yeah. Well, no, then you get married, and you have kids, then you get divorced.
Oh, no.
We get SportsCenter Los Angeles, and now nobody's at 2 a.m. in the building anymore, and things change like everything else.
I'll just tell you, Steve, I think the world's moved on from SportsCenter. I'm still a SportsCenter guy. I'm still an ESPN traditional, linear, as they say now.
Thank you.
On cable TV.
Thank you.
ESPN Sport. Can I just get highlights? Can someone just tell me what happened on the game and show me the highlights? Go to commercial and come back and do it again. I still watch SportsCenter. I watch Greenberg's show in the morning, pretty religiously. Like, I'm still that last traditional ESPN viewer. I miss that. It feels like it's receding.
So I get that, and I got to give credit. John Butchergrass has this great line. Like, yes, you can see the highlights on your phone now, right? But you want to see it on your 80-inch monster TV in your man cave,
I also want a show.
Yeah.
Like, it's a show.
Right.
I can tell when there's a producer and there's editing and there's production and there's people at work on a TV show. It's just better quality than a kid on my effing phone.
Yeah. And so we appreciate that. And listen, some of that is the old school. We grew up with it. We fell in love with it. Dan and Keith, right, from the good old days. Like, I'm right there with you. But, unfortunately, younger people than us are not necessarily watching TV anymore, right?
I can't stand them.
I can't tell you. I walk by, people say, I used to watch, because we were on The Late Show, and that re-aired 12 times.
Yeah.
There was no live SportsCenter until 6 p.m. So every press conference, every news, nothing happened, right? So that's where it sort of made my name or face or whatever, because we were on 14 times. And people would say, we watch the same show over and over, having your cereal, getting ready for school, the same bad jokes, the same bad ties, the same mistakes we made would run 14 consecutive hours.
And I've just lost track. So Van Pelt is the nightly, so Van Pelt does the 11, if you will, or whatever that is. And they like him so much they let him do it in his home studio in D.C., right?
Yeah, that's when you get to be a big shot. When they build a studio for you where you live, that's when you know you have some juice.
Do you still have a regular SportsCenter shift? Do you do it still, don't you?
Not so much anymore. I've sort of transitioned, been a lot of play-by-play, a lot of hockey studio, NFL play-by-play, TV and radio, which has been cool. The last SportsCenter I did really was the John Anderson Goodbye show. That might have been in the summer. So we do SportsCenter on the road at the Stanley Cup when we don't have it. Like, this is a year TNT has the Cup, so we'll still go and cover it for SportsCenter and Super Bowl week SportsCenter.
Okay. So anyway, I could talk about that forever. I won't. Before I get to the football, you do a lot of hockey now.
Yeah.
I know you're adjacent to a lot of guys who know a lot of things.
Yeah.
And being a former Boston guy, what's happened to the Bruins and where are we going with this? It feels like they're on the precipice of a dismantle or a retooling.
They're in an impossible spot right now. Like, they're just stuck right in the middle, right? What do I do? It's the bug getting squashed on the white line and you're trying to drive down the road. It's, that's for Don Sweeney to do. Sweeney's he's got to be feeling some heat. Cam too. I don't know how many coaches you get to fire. Not too many GMs get to fire. I don't know, 3 coaches, whatever it is. So, They got to gain some traction here. Obviously, the Four Nations break is coming up. We're very excited about that. We could get USA-Canada in Boston for the championship game, which would be off the charts. Amazing. And then the trade deadline to follow. I think, and Mess does this in the studio and makes me crazy, we're still talking about the Bruins replacing Bergeron and Krejci. Like, we got to get out of that. We got to get past that.
Well, they have no centers. Elias Lindholm has been a big zero.
I know.
And nothing in their system, and they haven't had anything in their system.
I know. So you got to figure out another way, a splash, like, Pasta can't be counted on to carry the team offensively every single night. And I was in favor of trading one of the goalies, right? You have 2 A's, you get an asset there. Had to have a major return with major impact, and it just has not happened. So, again, they're stuck in the middle, right? They're not bad enough to, let's say, blow it up. Because, they could make the playoffs, and once you get into the playoffs, hot goalie, blah, 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 you know how that goes. So they're right there. Can they win 3 in a row? Can you rip off 3 in a row? And just having to be able to do that.
How about a shake-up move like Brad Marchand? Deal Brad Marchand. It's been mentioned.
That's a big shake-up move, yeah. I can't picture him in another sweater. I know everybody moves now. I know he just screams Bruins, the logo, the crest on the chest. But you're right. If you don't move a big piece, well, then you're not getting a big piece back.
Exactly.
And you're not really affecting anything.
Right, you're stuck. You remain stuck.
Right.
So don't give any names away.
Yeah.
Okay? But people around the league that you talk to,
Yeah.
do they look at the Bruins and feel that the Bruins suck as bad as the fan base
As we do.
Because the Bruins fan base right now, in all seriousness, you say middle of the road.
Yeah.
The reality is the Bruins have one of the worst goal differentials in the league.
Yeah.
They're bad on the power play.
Yes.
They've been bad on the penalty kill.
Awful on the road.
Second, horrible on the road.
Yeah.
Secondary scoring has been a problem all
Yeah.
year. So there's, there are all types of issues, and most fans look at it and say something major has to happen. What are people around the league saying?
I don't think anybody's saying suckage. I feel like suckage is a too strong a word. How about just not good or inconsistent, Look, they're right there. They're a point out of the playoffs or something like that. The teams they're chasing are, perennial failures, Columbus, Detroit, Ottawa. Like, I'm not sure they're going to stick around. But the fact that right now on this date, whatever it is, Feb 7, 8, the Rangers and the Bruins are out of the playoffs right now, which is colossally bad for the NHL and television ratings, as you know.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised. Again, But the line has been so high, the bar for the Bruins for so many years. How do you keep that up? It's impossible in other markets. Obviously, the Patriots did it forever, too. I think you've been so blessed and therefore spoiled in Boston that some of this is going to come around. The Celtics look bored and disinterested, too, by the way. What's going on with them?
It's that.
Right? Bored and disinterested at home?
Well, and also human nature.
Right.
They lost a little bit of the edge, and hopefully they're a team that can just flip the switch when they want to, but I think that's a dangerous game to play.
How come the Chiefs don't have human nature?
Okay, well, you tell me. So now give me your thoughts on this. Are the Chiefs in danger of suffering that kind of thing?
Not yet, no. I don't think so. Andy Reid is special. I'm a guy, and don't read this the wrong way because this gets controversial. I believe that coaching in general is overrated, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, that's not saying it's unimportant. It's important, but overrated outside of football. I think football is the exception. I think if you look at the other sports, baseball, basketball, hockey, you have the best players, you win. Football's different. Andy Reid is a difference maker. Spags, a defense coordinator. Fangio's close, but Spags, a defense coordinator, and I think that gives the Chiefs a big edge over everybody else. And by the way, then they have Patrick Mahomes too. So I don't think they're in line for that. I think they're still young enough. How Reid keeps it fresh, though, and rejuvenated and keeps turning over pieces of the roster without really a stud wide, like a top wide receiver. And, Kelsey's might have lost a step or whatever. The defense is better than people think, I think, Kansas City. And I think this screams a great Super Bowl game itself.
Do you believe the consensus seems to be Philly better team, but KC knows how to win and has that thing going for him and Mahomes? Do you feel that that's pretty much the storyline?
And the coaching. So Andy Reid, so Sirianni's had a tough year. I mean, halfway through the season, they were still good, and they wanted to fire him. I mean, some of that is the Philadelphia thing, too, right? We all get that. 3/4 through the season, I'm not sure Sirianni's popular, and here they are. The Eagles are in the Super Bowl again. So, but push comes to shove, I'm going to take Reid to make the right call there, and maybe Sirianni will surprise us. Philadelphia doesn't make a lot of mistakes. unbelievable offensive line. You know, we get stuck in the weeds, X factor this. The game is on Saquon Barkley. Can the Chiefs stop Barkley? It's the biggest headline in the game, I think. It's so obvious that people, smart guys like ourselves, we don't want to talk about it because we want to show everyone it's the third string safety, special teams, punt coverage. It's not. It's really going to be, you know, can Barkley tear up the KC defense, I think.
So with coaching mattering that much,
yeah,
you believe
in the NFL, yeah,
that Belichick's not in it anymore, and now he's at UNC?
The coaching thing caught me by surprise. I mean, I was just shocked that he would want to put up with the nonsense that is college football coaching nowadays. And so the NFL is so much a better job. And I've known guys, obviously, who've done both. You know, college basketball, too, by the way, same exact thing. It's half the job is babysitting.
Yeah.
Now, again, you can't blame them. They're kids. Right? I know what I was doing when I was 18. You got to watch these guys, and they're playing in front of millions of fans, and now they're making millions of dollars, too. So, you know, college has become a pro league in essence now, and so that makes more sense that Belichick will go there. And Bill will surround himself with the right people, so he doesn't have to worry about some of that minutia, I would think. I know he's a control freak, but he can't do everything. College is 24/7, man, with these kids running around, you know.
Steve, thanks for coming by.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Steve,
We're going to see you this weekend, I'm
Thanks
sure.
a lot.
Yeah.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Felger and Mazz here. For more Bruins analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.